Hello, friends. In the yearly sequence of Sunday service topics, Swami Kriyananda gave us forgiveness as one of the affirmations recently. And I'd like to share a few thoughts about this. I didn't speak so much directly about it in the Sunday service recently, but it's worth touching on because it's one of these subjects that it's a little uncomfortable. Forgiveness, the fact that it even comes up at all as a topic inevitably means that there's some hurt involved or some injury involved. And, whether towards us, whether towards someone else. But if what Swamiji is suggesting is that, in fact, the very first line of his little reading says, forgiveness is the sword of victory. When we forgive others, we eliminate their power to do us harm. I'll just read that exactly, so I won't bother paraphrasing. When we forgive those who seek to hurt us, we rob them of their very power to do us harm. Now, if you think back through history, go back to the civil rights movement when, people would be killed simply for trying to be human beings and stand up for their own rights. This is pretty challenging stuff. Obviously there's harm, but see what's interesting about it is Swami's pointing, this is a very deep reading that he shares. He's saying that we have to take control of our own side of the narrative. And what he's essentially saying is that what happens to us, in a sense, is irrelevant if we take it in the right way. Because the affirmation very simply says, all that befalls me is for my good. So basically he's saying, you cannot be harmed. You, meaning your awareness, not necessarily your body. Because obviously, if you practice nonviolence, it doesn't mean that violence will not be done to you, but it means that it will not be violence to you if you respond in the right way, in the highest way. And the affirmation goes on to say, all that befalls me is for my good. I welcome any hurts that I receive as opportunities to grow in understanding. And so what he's basically saying, this is quite profound, because he's saying we are in charge. How we respond is our choice. That is the choice that we have. What is done to us is not necessarily our choice. It's not something we can opt into or opt out of. It may be something that's coming to us whether we like it or we don't like it. But how we choose to respond to it, that we do have control over. And it may seem like not much of a big deal. Like, well, what difference does it make whether I respond nicely or not? If I got beat up or if I, ran into some injury and had some injury happen to me, surely that's more important than my response. It's not. Because what we choose to do with it then directs the course of our life in the future, the course of our life energy. And the prayer follows this. Swami is saying, let me give it all to you. Let me open my heart. Here, I won't paraphrase that either. I'll just read it directly. Lord, how often the hurts that I've sustained in life have grieved me. Strengthen my power of love that I surrender all things to Thee, my eternal friend. What he's suggesting is that we recognize that everything is coming from God. It may seem like it's coming from a person. It may seem like, this injury or this blessing is being done to me by somebody else. But in fact, it's all coming from God, and it's all to help us to be free. That's the part that can get lost in this, because we tend to think of, well, this is good and that's bad. You know, when somebody's nice to me, that's good. When somebody's rotten and evil and injurious to me, then that's bad. But in fact, it's all an opportunity to awaken and to deepen our understanding, and broaden our understanding. And to the extent that we can open our hearts to God, we can find that truth in ourselves and know it to be true. And forgiveness is that power, because forgiveness is a choice. It can never be imposed on us. You know, we can offer forgiveness to someone else, you know, on many, many, many levels, but to sort of open the floodgate completely requires an openness of the heart. And that is always going to be a choice. So I say these things because it's a very challenging subject. We could go on and on and on. But I say, observe your own response to the things that happen in life so that you can observe, how did I do? Did I open the heart? Because it's in that operation, sort of that level of introspection, that we can determine, okay, no, I could have done better with that. Even if something was done to me that, quote, shouldn't have been done, how did I respond? That's always going to be, for us, the challenge in life. And we will know by the feeling in the heart. If there's a little tension or if there's a little constriction around the heart, you can tell, you can feel it. It can be subtle, but it's something that we don't want to live with. And so let us learn that lesson and do the work of introspecting to see how we've responded to the various situations in life. There's probably no one in this world who goes through an entire lifetime without some injury or some misunderstanding. And it is always well to look to the source of everything that is coming to us in God and find that source, recognize it, and just offer our love to God for what, in reference to nothing even in particular, but just to be open to God's grace coming to us. There's deep, deep freedom in that. Namaste.